important for us to get the ground work done first, the basic things. Now, this is the 8th commandment, and it is thou shalt not steal. Okay, and we're going to go here because it's pretty self-explanatory what it's saying. He don't want us to steal, but I want you to see why it's so important that we understand that we shouldn't steal or theft. Because listen to these numbers about America. Okay, in 2017, this is the FBI crime statistics, and this will let you know why people should be telling people about not stealing. In 2017, in America, they had 1,401,840 burglaries. They had 5,519,107 larcenies or burglaries, where somebody might have just snuck in and stole something while somebody wasn't looking. They had 773,139 motor vehicle thefts. They had 21,702 million cargo thefts, meaning them big cargo containers coming in. Yeah. And that's where you sometimes see these people that be out selling these bags and stuff like that. Sometimes these thieves are going on these trains or gone into these shipping yards and stole stuff out of that, and it's a big business. Like they got these, they call them railroad gangs. They actually go on the railroad lines and break into stuff and steal stuff out of that, and into the shipping yards. Is big business. Yes. Now, identity theft, which is also a theft, I think Darius had a problem with this a couple of years ago when somebody stole his identity. But in 2017, I got this off of LifeLock, which is the thing that I got. They had 16 million identity thefts in 2017. So that they know of. It probably could have been more. But in 2017, they had 16 million identity thefts in this country, not the world. So wouldn't you say that this would be this should be preached, this should be taught, that we should not steal? Do you see how many people were affected? I ain't even give you the money amount that they affected with all these thefts just here in America. But think about this worldwide. Because one of the things that the devil would like to do, he would like to make the world break so many of the commandments of Yah that would be just like what happened with the flood. When Hasatan and the fallen angels got through with the first world before the flood, they had got the people to sin so much that the Bible said that their thoughts were only evil continually. So much so that Yah was not only able, he already knew who was going to, so I ain't saying that he was powerless, but it was only 8 people that got on that ark out of all those billions. And we know that the world population before the flood was much bigger than what it is today. It was way, and I think Micah helped us with some of the math showing that it was billions. Yeah, it was probably hundreds of billions. They didn't have no oceans to separate them, and the climate and stuff was perfect. And men and women was living for hundreds of years, so they could have children after children. But in that amount, Yah could only find, and that so much so that if he hadn't moved when he did, all flesh would have been destroyed, and Yah would have had to start over. But we know that Yah does not make mistakes. So this is what the enemy is trying to get the world back to, where I'm going to get them to break so many of Yah commandments that he's going to have to move. He's going to have to destroy all of them. That's why, what did the Bible say? He said if he didn't, in the latter days, if Yah didn't sent his son Yeshua back, he said no flesh would be what? Saved. None whatsoever. That's why it's a scary thing when you really read the scriptures about who's going to get into the kingdom and not. It said one of the disciples said, I think it's to Yeshua, he said, there be not many that will be saved. He said that. He said that. They said that to Yeshua. He said, it ain't going to be a lot of people that's going to find the narrow way. It's not. In the comparison to the ones that are. And that's because with these basic things, you see what I'm saying? That people kind of push to the side and say, well, I know about kingdom praying, but you stealing. You stealing. Like that, what's that one show we used to watch about the tow truck, the people that used to repo, and they had that one guy, the bald-headed guy, and he was going around stealing stuff. He was some kind of a personal trainer on his side job. And they said, hey, these energy drinks, what's been happening to these energy drinks? Somebody been stealing the energy drinks. He said, I haven't been stealing them. I've been taking them, but I've been replacing them. I said, but did you tell the people that you was taking them? That's stealing. I said, no, that's not stealing, dude. Not if I came back and I replaced it. You see what I'm saying? How you're saying that's stealing. And y'all said, I'm going to show you how important it is for us not to steal. Let's go to Revelation. I got to start saying it's not Revelations, even though it's one. Revelation 9, 20 and 21. Let's see what Yah says about the latter days. Revelation 9 and 20. Okay, Revelation 9 and 20 reads, and the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone, and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. Now listen to this. This is talking about the latter days, which started back during John's time. It's been running all the way to right now. He said, neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, which is the word pharmakeia, which we get talking about, you know, the drugs and stuff like that, nor of their fornications, nor of their thefts. So this is something that Yah wanted people to know, that they were in the latter days by not just the murders and the drug use and the sexual sins, but also of people stealing. He said you're going to see a proliferation of thefts, of all kinds of thefts, not just now, which we know identity theft is part of that, but thefts of what did the conquerors do, the explorers do when they went into other countries, when they found they had jewels, or they found they might have had some bones of some great emperors. What did they do? They stole the stuff and did what? Took it back to their country. What is Africa and India and all these other countries that were conquered by the conquistadors and conquered by the Europeans trying to do now? They trying to get their stuff back because it was what? Stolen. Think about the obelisks that were stolen out of Egypt that are all around the world now. Everywhere any major city that you go that's Western city, and some that are not, always has an obelisk somewhere. Because that was now we understand that the obelisk is an evil thing. It's not a thing that we as believers in Yeshua should cling to, because it's a phallic thing representing the male organ, and it's a thing, but it's a thing of power to the Egyptians. So we're not arguing on the point of because we think it's a good thing, but we're walking on the point that it's still stealing. And that's why Egypt and these other countries saying, please return our symbols of what? Power back to us. Because you stole them from us. You stole our emperor's bones. You, even with what we believe us being the people, and then the Egyptians also having their identity stolen, they stole even that. Their identity theft has always been around, not just on computers, but just with the writing of books and pictures that were produced to show the people as they would like them, not as they really were. Because if you are the conqueror and you go in, you can pretty much mandate whatever you want. That nah, this is, even though we see all this on the hieroglyphics and everything, that's, don't go by that, go by what we tell you. That he said they would even steal the image. That's why they said that in a lot of ancient cultures that still exist today, that still are operating, they don't want you to take their picture. They said, no, you can't take my picture. You can't film me. You can't even draw me. They don't want you because they believe that you can literally steal their soul. You see, well, we snapping all these pictures and everything, and there have been witches that have shown how they can get pictures of people, and they can go and do their incantations over that picture or whatever, and put spells on it, and all this kind of marred up and change the way it look, and do this because it is a representation of you. That's why y'all said that you shall not make no images of Yeshua or of him, because you don't know what they look like. And if you ascribe to them something that's not, that's a lie. You stealing the glory from the real Yah or the real Yeshua by saying, no, this is the way he looked. He got this kind of hair, this kind of skin, all of you stealing. He said, what? Thou shalt not steal. Don't make no graven image of me. Okay, so we know that there's going to be by the crime statistics that we read, we know that this is a reality, that thefts are going on a lot in this nation. A lot. And so much so, like I said, even with when me and your mom was, when we were stationed up in Fort Drum, they had people that was going to the army, not just, some churches. They had some churches that were doing it, but just people in general were going on to the military bases and making copies off of the military copy machines. And so the army-wide started putting this little thing on the copy machine where if you made a copy, it said copy not for private use. This is army property. So that if you made a copy, it was going to be on there. And if somebody came in there, they could say, hey, that's theft. You stole from the army. You stole paper. You stole ink. Because this is costing us millions and millions of dollars. But you saying, well, I'm just making one copy. If it's for official government use, if it's not, you stealing. And all these things add up, and they go up into all this stuff. Yah he has to tabulate. He has to see. He has to see the thefts. He has to see the adulteries. He has to see the murders. He has to see the taking his name in vain every day. Yeah. Every day. That's why, and apparently, stealing is one of the ones that really gets to him, or he wouldn't have put it down here as one of the ones in the Revelations that was important. Let's go here to Proverbs 30:7. Then I want somebody to get Proverbs 10:2 and get Proverbs 20:17. But I'm going to read Proverbs 30:7-9. It said, 2 things have I required of thee, deny me them not before I die. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Neither give me neither property nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me, lest I be full and deny thee, and say, who is the master? Or lest I be poor and what? Steal and take the name of my Elohim in vain. So this is Solomon saying, don't let me be rich, but don't let me be poor, because if I be poor, I'm going to steal, and I'm going to take the name of Yah in vain. So this is important to him. He's saying that's why we must develop that relationship with Yeshua, Yah through Yeshua, so that he can meet our needs, so that we won't have to be in a desperate situation where we say, well, I got to feed my children, man. I got to go out here and do strong arm robbery and stuff. Nah, if we are really operating in Yah like we supposed to, he's saying this should not be. Because he praying. He praying. He said, I don't want this, Yah. I don't want to be a thief, even to feed myself. So what did his father David, because Solomon wrote this, what did David say in Psalm? He said, never have I seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. But the key thing is righteous. Righteous what? Keeping his commandments, not stealing. So we will ask him, okay, but on that point, they said that in Katrina, because I had to go back and repent to Yah for what I said about, look at them black people down there stealing, breaking into them stores and stealing the stuff. Okay, this is what happened. They said the people came into the stores to get food because the government wasn't coming. They had money. Some of them had money, but they said of course the government wasn't coming. They had to get in there, and they said some of them actually did leave money on the countertop for the store owners. But they said, hey, it was a desperate situation where they had to do what they had to do at that time, but some of them did leave money on the countertop but when the news, and even like when they showed the policeman in there, they said the policeman had commandeered, police can do that. They can commandeer a situation where in ordinary you might be breaking the law, but they were like, okay, in this situation, we stuck here, the water surrounding us, we stuck in the Superdome, there's no food coming, we got these stores around here. That's why the cops were going in there to make sure that the people wasn't taking money out of the cash register. They was just getting food, if you look at the video. But when the news reported, they're like, look at these people stealing, you see. But they was taking under, that's why the police was in there, because the police was in the same situation where they couldn't get food, but they had money, but the stores was not open. So this is what we're going to have to contemplate when all these things come down. That if there's total annihilation in the United States and you just left out here on the fringes of civilization and you got money, but there ain't no food around except for some stores. So in your conscience, you're saying, is it survival? Or this is where the Holy Ruach is going to have to come into play and say, you got money, you would pay for this. But this is a national emergency. All lines of communication is down. The government don't know where no one is at. That's why, like I said, a lot of times the police will come in and stuff like that. They'll commandeer and they'll tell whoever the store owner, when things get back up, you will get recompense for your thing. But the psalmist, the guy in Proverbs is saying, Yah, please don't even let me get into that situation where I had to get so desperate that I will have to revert to stealing to feed my family. Don't let me get to that point. So that if I have in my heart that I don't want to steal, he gonna make it where even if I got put in, I would never get put in that position where I would have to make that decision where, man, I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna have to break in there and get there because my baby needs some diapers or my baby needs some milk or whatever. He said, please don't let me get in that situation. So let's go to Proverbs 10:2. Somebody read that.
Treasures of wickedness profit nothing, but righteousness delivers from death.
Okay. So he's saying, profit of wickedness is nothing, meaning stealing. Okay. So this is why America is in a situation, because all of the quote unquote riches of this country came from stolen labor from us that was never paid back. It tasted good at the beginning, right? But now it's coming down now, because now what's happening with America? So many countries have come in and bought up this country. So it's like it's starting to go in reverse, because they stole it from us, and now these countries are coming in and stealing American farmland. When I say steal, they ain't putting a gun, but they getting it. They getting it for a steal, just like with our home that we sold. That's why they got all these signs saying we will buy houses. Those are the Chinese people coming in and buying all these houses and renovating them. And you might like, well, they just getting a bunch of broken down houses, but they accumulate enough of them, man. They become a powerful real estate force of their own and corner the market. You see what I'm saying? So how much you want to sell that house for? Okay, yeah, we'll put something in it or whatever. But we not only do we have the land, but we got a continual flow of revenue by renting these houses out, and the money is not staying in the local. It's going back to China, to that real estate owner. Yeah. Because the land that the Americans got was stolen from the original inhabitants of this nation in the first place. Therefore, that's why he said treasures of wickedness profit nothing. In the end, they might profit at the beginning, but in the end, it's not going to profit. Now let's go to Proverbs 20:17. Somebody read that.
Bread of the seed is sweet to man, but afterwards his mouth shall be filled with wrath.
Which is basically the same thing that I just got through saying. At the beginning, it's going to be America is the greatest nation on earth and everything. But now we finding out all the treaties that they broke and all this other kind of stuff, and now it's becoming bitter in the mouth of a lot of, especially the indigenous people that still left. They always had the bitter taste in their mouth or whatever from what they. But now Americans, now that they seeing theirs getting back, it's like the Bible said, "Woe unto a city that was founded on iniquity." A land. It said, whoa. It's just like a drug dealer that, made millions and millions, and then what he does, he quote unquote launders his money and makes it clean. In the eyes of Yah, that money is not clean. If he got it through robbing, stealing, selling drugs, all this kind of stuff. Yeah. Or if you stole, if a man stole, let's say, $20 million from a bank, and he moved to another country and tried to make himself an upstanding citizen in that country, that money is still, and later on, that money is gonna become like gravel in his descendants' mouth, because it was not gotten the right way. It was not gotten the right way. Sort of like the situation that happened with your mom when her friend stole the money from her and bought all that stuff. Yeah. and never admitted to it, later on it became gravel. Not just what she did to her, but to other people. It ended up becoming bitter to her because it didn't profit her. That's why he said, don't steal. Let's go to John 10 and 10. Going back to the New Testament. We got any comments or any statements anybody want to say to this about stealing?
No. I think he's covering it.
Okay. Now, John 10 and 10, this is Yeshua speaking. This is one reason why Yah is so adamant about us not stealing. This is verse 10 of chapter 10. He said, the thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that thou might have life and that thou might have it more abundantly. And the thief he was talking about was Satan, Hasatan. So in the beginning, Hasatan was a thief, a liar, and a murderer. He said, and that's all he come to do. He come to kill, steal, and destroy. So that's one of the attributes of Satan. That's why Yah hates it so much. That's why he wrote it into his commandments. And he said, if you are like that, you are like Hasatan if you steal. That's one of his attributes because he can't help but do that. It's just his nature to do that, to steal, kill. Notice he had stealing as at the top of the list, then killing and destroying. All right? Let's go to Luke 19 and 8. Somebody read that.
And Zacchaeus stood and said unto Yah, behold, Yah, the half of my goods I give to the poor. If I have taken anything, or if I have taken anything from any man by false accusation, I restore to him fourfold.
Now read verse 9 too.
And Yeshua said unto him, this day is salvation come to this house, or so much as he also is a son of Abraham.
Okay, but notice he didn't say that until he said, you know what, all those people that I stole from, I'm going to give them their money back. You notice he didn't say, you don't have to do that. He said, okay, go ahead and do it. Now you are a son of Abraham because that stuff that you stole, you giving back, which goes back to the fact that when these people that conquered us supposedly became Christians or are Christians or whatever, that they need to give back the stuff that they stole if they are a Christian, if this was a Christian nation. Because that's what Yeshua let Zacchaeus do. And Zacchaeus didn't just give it back. He said, I'll restore it back to him with 4 more. Which brings us to us. We've been in this land a little over 400 years. So when they give it back to us, what does that mean? If he let Zacchaeus give them 4-fold, then that means when it's restored back to us, what was stolen from us, they're going to have to do what? They're going to have to give it back to us 4-fold also.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Because he said, the thief comes, but to steal, kill, and destroy. But I have come to give you life, and that more abundantly. I mean, that was stolen from you to be restored back to you, just like Zacchaeus restored back to those that he stole from through false accusation 4-fold. All right? So let's go to Ephesians 4 and 28. Then someone get 1 Corinthians 6 and 10.
You said Ephesians
4 and 28, and then 1 Corinthians 6 and 10. Somebody let's do 1 Corinthians 6 and 10 first, and then Ephesians 4 and 28.
nor thief, nor covetous, nor drunkard, nor reviler, nor extortioner shall inherit the kingdom of God.
Okay, there we go. Okay, actually, I should have had you read verse 9 too. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of Elohim? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind. And then verse 10, he said, and thieves, which goes back to thou shalt not steal. He said, if you steal, you ain't gonna inherit the kingdom. So this goes back to the thing of why would you say the 10 Commandments are done away with when Paul clearly is saying that same thing right here in the 6th chapter of 1 Corinthians about all these things. All Paul and them do is just break it down further. Where people say, well, is that really stealing? He breaks it down. He breaks it down. He said thieves. If you're a thief, if you steal, covenants, that's one of the commandments. But then he goes into drunkards, revilers, extortioners. Extortioners is people that steal, but they do it through falsehoods, like, getting you to sign something where you signing something away. That's all. He breaks it down, the list down. He breaks it down into subcategories because, sometimes people will, just like that one guy said, well, I ain't really stealing it if I'm putting it back. No, you are a thief. You are an extortioner. You see what I'm saying? You sign a employment agreement that if anybody took any energy drinks out of there, they were supposed to put the money in the thing. But you said, nah, I replaced it. But you didn't replace it right away. And when people came looking for an energy drink, they were all gone because instead of you just putting the money in there like you were supposed to, you said, oh, I'm going to go to the store and buy it and I'll put it back in. Just put the money in. You didn't have the money. You was stealing. You was extorting. So he said, they ain't going to inherit the kingdom. You're not going to get into the kingdom. Okay, let's go to Ephesians 4:28. You got that, Mikey?
Yes.
Read it, please.
Let him that stole steal no more, but rather let him labor, working with his hands the thing which is good, that he may have to give to him that needeth.
All right. So this is Paul talking to the Ephesians. He said, y'all that's stealing, don't steal. Don't steal no more. But let you work. Go to work. Working with your hands. That which is good. Meaning don't just get any kind of job. Get a job where you're doing something good. And that not only will you get an income for yourself, but you also, with getting that job, you'll be able to help people that are in need. Which goes back to the prayer that the thing we read in Proverbs where he said, y'all don't let me become rich, but don't let me become so poor that I will have to steal. I just want to get what I need. And then you can multiply that. You see what I'm saying? So it goes back to not taking what is not yours, or waiting for Yah to supply your needs according to his riches and glory in Yeshua HaMashiach, right? So let's go to Psalms 62 and 10, and then we're going to begin to wrap this lesson up. Psalm 62 and 10. Reads, it said, trust not in oppression, and become not vain in robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart upon them. So here's the magician Judathan, a Psalm of David. He said, don't trust in oppression, meaning you oppressing people, and become not vain in robbery. Mean, you just basically robbing people without any kind of feeling. You said, if riches increase, set not your heart upon them. All this has to do with robbery, stealing, oppression. He said, don't become vain, meaning you become proud of it. I'm proud of what we're like, how they can go into these different countries and sign these contracts with Africa to steal their land, and they become so proud and say, we just closed this big deal. That's robbery. Robbing. He said there's such a thing as them coming in. Yeshua talked about the religious leaders coming in and stealing widows' houses, robbing them, because the widows had prayers that they need answered. In Yeshua days, they might pay the Pharisees money to do prayers and send up prayers for them. Sort of like today, it ain't no different. And they got these televangelists and all these people that got these jets and things, and they proud of their jets and their houses and their things, even though they have robbed old ladies, widows, and people like that. Like that one a guy we seen, the one that started as a child evangelist. And they said, see how I go around and sucker these people? I can get on the radio and say, I know it's 10 people out there with $100. He was just bragging about it. He said, don't get vain in your robbery. Are you kidding me? You getting proud of this stuff? I'm gonna show you how easy these people is. Oh, the Most High told me that there are 3 people out there with a $10,000 offering that they got waiting here. I know it. I feel it. Or be like the ones in that video years ago. I would think it was Cleflo Dollar, and I can't think of that other guy. And they had the money on the stage, and they was running through the money. And they said, money, 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 money. And they were running through it and kicking the money up in the air and rolling in the money, swimming in the money. And the people were still coming up there throwing money at them and stuff. That's robbery. He said, don't come vain. They became vain in it. They said, woo, woo, running around. He said, I can't believe it. I knew then. I said, we got to get out of this stuff. Is too crazy. It's too crazy. And then what happened, it was like some kind of demonic force went through, and you had people. Well, actually, it had started before that. My mom first seen it when she went to the convention center downtown in '95, and they had some famous televangelists that came, and people was throwing their car keys and their mortgages and stuff on the stage and throwing money and Rolex watches and stuff. And I think it was T.D. Jakes and Juanita Bynum. And she said that Juanita Bynum was out there and people was doing it. And she said that T.D. Jakes had to come out because he was coming on next. They said he had to come out there and say, stop it. Because I guess he wanted to make sure they had enough stuff to throw at him when they got. Take that Rolex watch back and wait for my service. I ain't gonna let her rob all the goodies. And so he said, don't become vain in your robbery. You robbing widows' houses and stuff. I'm telling you, this is what but remember, like I said, this stuff started back in John's time. And now what had happened is over the years, the centuries, they have perfected it. Now in our time, they have perfected in the art. The devil doesn't have to do anything different, They had spears back then. They had swords back then when they robbed people. Only thing now, they just got guns. It ain't no different. They got guns. It's the same thing. Give me all your money or I'll kill you. Or fooling people through, extortion or whatever. I got this picture of you, and if you don't give me the money to whatever that I'm in, I'm gonna put this picture out on the internet showing you doing such and such. He said these kind of people are not going to inherit the kingdom of Yah. So I want some input from y'all on what y'all think about the lesson, and there's some things that you have seen that you want to add to the lesson. What y'all want to add to about not thou shalt not steal?
Yes, you just still, you can't just like think it's all give back, or just I'm trying to find a way to like accommodate and like pay back. You still know that you stole. That's just all it is.
Yep.
Why still? Why still? I mean, I can't really put no answers. Why still?
Yep.
Why?
A lot of people said the same thing about Bernie Madoff. Why did he have to steal? He could have made it. Remember what the scripture you read? Then you read that stolen. What was that? Stolen bread is sweet. That's the answer right there. What was it? Proverbs 20 and 17. Yeah, that's the answer right there.
Is that even law? I mean,
Okay, so yeah, here it is, right here. It says, yeah, bread of deceit is sweet to a man, but afterward his mouth shall be filled with gravel.
we're just saying they weren't evil.
It's something about getting it that way, you know.
It's just like I would say envy basically. I'll put it that way. It is something. It's in their heart. It's like, or they see a person, I guess, with I guess like a watch or like a diamond necklace or just or some cufflinks, something, I mean, just something like that, and they just
Yeah.
they envy it though, and it's like they want it so bad, like in their heart, it's like
Yeah.
it looks good, like
Covetousness, which is one of the.
I
Yeah, well, that's one of the. We're gonna get to that one. That's one of the last commandments. So you can see how one leads to another. But yeah, you're right. Envy, covetousness can make people want to say, "Hey, I should have that."
I mean, it's a lot of watches. Why? I mean, I mean, just be envious of looking at. I mean, just looking at. I mean, good. I mean, pretty stuff, which is not bad though. But want to steal it though. I mean,
Yeah, but that's just that's why y'all put it, because everyone has something that they would desire to have that they can't get. But that's where you have to submit yourself to Yah, and He say, hey, that's not for you or whatever, and you don't need that. Or He says, seek ye first the kingdom of Yah, and all these things He will add unto you. So that's all I had about the thou shalt not steal. Like I said, it's pretty straightforward, but when you see all the intricacies of how we see the in this nation and in this world that it's just commonplace now. It was important for the enemy to try to downplay this scripture also. So that's our lesson for today.